Well, once again, welcome to our regular fortnightly Fast Facts Friday session. We've got a good session today. We've got MC Carter as our co-host, and he'll be actually running the main session today. We're going to be talking about how this one particular accounting firm, Drew Grosskreutz from Otium Group, and he's going to be talking about how he's doubled his revenue using social media and blogging. A little bit of formalities before we start. I'd now like to hand it over to Managing Director of Practice Paradox, MC Carter. Over to you.
Thank you, Wayne, and hello everyone. Thanks for joining us today for the case study interview with Drew Grosskreutz of Otium Group, which is a firm based on the Sunshine Coast. Now, before I introduce Drew, and we'll have Drew turn his webcam on in a moment, let me just give you a quick overview in terms of who Otium Group are. It's a business that focuses on self-managed super funds. So the SMSF specialists, they have a particular focus on the property investor market. Now, why we're speaking with Drew today is that he and his business have very, very effectively used blogging to position themselves as thought leaders in this space, and from a commercial perspective, improve their website traffic by, at last calculations, over 2,200%. They're also actively using social media strategically, linking back to their blog and to reinforce their authority position in the market. And in terms of bottom line, since we started working with Otium Group in November 2012, the business has increased their revenue by over 250%. And importantly, the business now has what I call a higher quality problem. In business, there are always challenges, always, but you want good quality problems. And when Otium Group came to us, the goal was lead generation. And we very quickly, and we'll share some details on that, solved that problem, and we elevated to a much better quality problem of how do I handle all of these leads. So then we looked at sales process, both from the process and the technology. And now they've reduced the time from initial inquiry to completed engagement by 2/3. So I think you'll agree anyone would be pretty happy with those sorts of results in their business. Now, the key take home from today, and we'll show you some examples, is they've built an online lead generation machine. We talk about building a marketing machine for your accounting and advisory business, and this is exactly what Otium has done. So let's welcome Drew. Thanks so much, Drew, for joining us today and sharing. It's very, very generous of you to do so. How are you going?
Very good, thanks, MC. That was a good lead-in. I think you've covered off everything that we've done over the last 12 months.
Well, we'll be drilling into more detail. The business name that Wayne was struggling to pronounce earlier, just share with us, what's the meaning of Otium?
Otium's a Latin word. When we were looking at a new business name, when we rebranded a year ago also, we scoured for funny names, useful names, typical old school firm names, but we come up with the Latin word Otium. It means relax. It also means relaxation in retirement. So since we're a self-managed super fund or retirement planning office, it really quickly gelled with us and we ran with it. So Otium means, it's a Latin word for relax or relaxation in retirement.
And it's pronounced the same as opium, but with a T in the middle. Cool, we've cleared that one up. Wayne, did you take notes on
basically, that? Not anything that Wayne talked about. It's pronounced the opposite to what he did.
So let's get into your journey over the last few years. We first met, you came along to the first marketing masterclass that we ever ran, which was a 3-day conference held on the Sunshine Coast in November 2010.
That's, yeah, correct, that long ago. So I had an interest in growing my firm. I had a generalist accounting firm at the time, so PAYG and business accounting, risk insurance, financial planning. I had an interest in all things in growing firms and more so the modern way of running them, but it took me a long time to come across and use your service because I had a business partner that didn't believe in marketing, didn't really believe in doing everything we're talking about today, and the results obviously speak for themselves. I don't have a business partner anymore. He's running another successful business. We just went our separate ways, and I chose to focus on one area of accounting and accounting advice, being the self-managed super fund sector.
Sure, I can actually still visualize you sitting in the back row with your laptop, busily, you know, your head down was the whole time taking notes. And I thought, because we had live Wi-Fi in the room and we were teaching people how to use Twitter and social media, I thought, okay, is he using social media? Is he checking his emails? Is Drew engaged in this thing? And I asked the crew member, and they said, yeah, we checked in on him. He's just taking copious notes. So you're a copious note taker, which was good, but you had to wait a few years to actually implement the marketing. I recall that. So you were in a two-partner firm at the time that was a one-stop shop type firm that was doing accounting, financial planning, risk insurance, quite a broad spectrum. And
yeah. If you look back, if you went back and read the Financial Standard and all those publications that come out years ago, it was the thing to do. You were supposed to be an accounting firm, and then you were supposed to be a financial planner as well, and risk insurance and estate planning. You were supposed to do everything on the high street and be the one-stop shop. What I found, it was very hard to get your clients engaged and provide meaningful advice, scaled advice, and prove up your worth in fees. I found it very hard to show them their accounting fees and their advice fees. So for us, it didn't work, and then we scaled back down and went specialist.
So you're very clear on a few things. Your business model. So I love the saying, succeed by doing less, and you know, the discipline. There was a recent paper published, this for everyone's benefit. I did a tweet about it a couple of weeks ago. There was a paper in the Harvard Business Review talking about the discipline of doing less and not trying to be all things to all people. However, I would say that we don't like to be prescriptive in our advice. There are a lot of different, it's like Baskin and Robbins with the ice cream. I don't know what, there's 31 flavors or something. There's a lot of different flavors of accounting firms. So it doesn't matter which business model you use as long as you're very clear and committed to your business model. So you're really clear on your business model, and you're also really clear on your target market and how you reach them.
Yeah, and not by accident. It just took us a long time to get warm to the idea. Once we were no longer business accounting and PAYG accounting and focusing on the advice side, we had to find out where our clients were going to, or where they were hanging out and where they were getting their current advice. So the property and supermarket had moved so much that people were, I was creating a lot of noise, and there is still a lot of noise about it as well. But we found that instead of concentrating on the mums and dads, the ones and twos as our client, their mortgage broker or their property wealth coach is our client. We help them engage with their clients, provide them information, marketing tools, database exercises to find the clients that want our advice. So they're coming in, those leads are coming in very warm. Our conversion rate, as you and I talk about each month, is well over 80, and most times it's a 90% conversion rate, because we're talking to the people that want to do or want to engage with our service. And by being very clear on what we do and only taking on those clients, it's helped us dramatically.
And when we were talking the other day, I said, how do you describe your business generically? Do you describe it as financial planning? Do you describe it as accounting? And you answered along the lines of, no, I just describe it as a business where a large function of it is accounting related, and there's the self-managed super fund side of things. How would you characterize the description of the business to someone else?
I tried. It's taken me a long time to get comfortable just saying that we were a business, because previously you want to tell people you're an accounting firm or quickly engage them and get that credibility across, because we've got chartered accountants in here and we want people to understand that the advice is coming from accountants. But we really are now just a business, and a large function of my business is accounting and advice coming from accountants. We're a process, and that's where we're comfortable at sitting now. Otium is just a business that help you go from not understand or just found out you can buy property with your superannuation, right through to the tenants being in that property without selling the property and without writing the loans. It's really important that we've found our little niche and then worked out where to exploit it. And when I'm introduced at speaking functions I do, it's just I'm the CEO of Otium, and Otium's just a business.
Yep, cool. And you've implemented very well a strategy that we term a niche portal. So just to explain that to everyone, in our Modern Marketing Academy, which is our training program where we teach you how to be great at marketing, Module 1 is about a couple of things. We call it Your Radar, and we call it Your Radar because where are you focusing? Most people focus too broadly. So that's the first thing. Get clear on your focus strategy, because differentiation in the way that most firms describe we're different is really a pipe dream of claims. It just doesn't work. So get clear on your focus strategy. But secondly, get very clear on the niche portal. So portal, meaning door. How can you, in one step, get in front of a lot of people in your target market, your very specific target market, not just get in front of them, but be endorsed to them by someone they already trust. So what have you done around, just share with the group, Drew, what you've done around that niche portal, because you've had a couple.
Yeah, I have had a couple. A large national mortgage broking chain, very protective of their database, have engaged me to be their sole advisor in regarding to teaching their brokers. So number one was finding out where these brokers were, what information they needed to tell their clients if they were asked a question, and giving them enough scope to come to us, which was something we're going to get to later on, which is putting the calculator on our website. So this large mortgage broking chain encourages the brokers to go to my website and use a calculator, which reduces their risk. So I've made it easy for my portal or market, number one. Number two is the property advice firms that aren't licensed, and many of them aren't. They're the wealth through property firms. So I've made our advice tailored to them, where they're comfortable that we're not going to sell a property and we're not going to write a loan. They're comfortable to send their clients for advice before they go ahead. Is a self-managed super fund right? Is property and super fund in a self-managed super fund right for them? So they're the two areas we really concentrated on in our niche, is actually understanding the clients are going to those people for advice. They're not going to come to us first. They're going to go to their trusted advisor first. How do we gain the trust of the trusted advisor? So that was our marketing plan, and it works well. And obviously, it's working quite well.
So niche portal number one for you has been mortgage brokers, and one of the things I love about that is you're adding a lot of value to the mortgage brokers. They're sitting there with a book of loans that they've done over recent years, so it's pretty much lying dormant there. They've got a mum and dad who's either paying off their own mortgage or paying off an investment property or two or three, and you come along to them and say, hey, we've got a system where you can essentially rekindle your list, and we can show them how they may well be able to afford another investment property through self-managed super. Now, we don't want to give away your secret sauce, because there have been some great ideas and some great technology, but we also want to share value with everyone here today. So just step us through how that works when you're talking to a mortgage broker, the value proposition that you're putting to them and how it benefits them.
I think the easiest way to describe it is using a database extraction tool, so a piece of software, to go to their client base, which they will admit they often lack going out to their database with any new initiatives or contact. So we used a specific software. We used Formstack, so I'll give away that secret, to track information that was sent out to the database. When the information come back in, the series of questions we used in that questionnaire enable us to review the data and tell each mortgage broker which clients were interested in knowing more about my service, and that can be accounting or financial planning. It's just that I've chosen this portal or this area or niche. You have to think about what you could do it for you, but for my niche, we tailored the questions so that their database come back to them and said, yes, we want to know more, or no, we don't. And so it really cleared the decks of any time wasting. We were only talking to their clients who wanted to know about our service. So that's trick number one, is actually coming up with a series of questions and using a system or a software to track those database extractions.
So in terms of how that unfolded in our working together, and to put it into context in terms of how Otium works with Paradox, Drew's using two of our services. One's called Virtual Marketing Assistant Service, where we act like an outsourced marketing department, so that's Virtual Marketing Assistant. And the other service that Otium uses is Virtual Marketing Director. So that's more very specific coaching around strategy, the use of technology around marketing and lead generation and lead conversion. And I remember you said, look, I've got a great relationship with a particular mortgage broker. I've got an idea about how we could help them. How do we implement that? So we brainstormed that in a web meeting, came up with the idea of an online sort of questionnaire type quiz that they could complete, and essentially we helped you build it in Formstack, which, if you've not heard of Formstack, everyone, it's like SurveyMonkey, but a lot better. I don't rate SurveyMonkey, but other good tools in that category are Survey Gizmo, and there's a whole range of different ones. There's even embedded video. You embedded a video within there, and they had to answer a question. So apart from generating leads, you are educating these mum and dad investors, potential investors out there, about whether they could in fact afford to get an investment property by transferring their super into a self-managed. So that was a great idea, and then we just executed it in a way now that you've got pretty much a cookie cutter system that you can keep replicating that through multiple relationships.
And I'm rolling that out now across the state. My only issue is time. I'm only well, we've got 8 staff, but I'm only one person driving that, so I don't have the time to replicate it for everyone. So that's like you said, the larger scale problems that we have.
Now, oh, sorry, Drew, you go.
Yeah, keep going. Yep.
Would you be okay if I shared with the group how many of these questionnaire type quiz submissions you've received so far in terms of just the number?
Yeah, do you want me to? I can roll them off the top of my head. You want to look in there, do you?
No, I've got it here. So 455 there. So that's it.
Yeah, sorry, that's all right. I'm just making sure it doesn't give away any of my IP.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I know that it went out to about 1,000 people in their database. 450 people came back using the survey. So we had data on 450 people. Out of those 450 people, 130 wanted a new wanted to review their home loan. So nothing to do with superannuation. We actually added value to the mortgage broker that way. So they had 130 leads to deal with, which was another big problem for them. They didn't think that they'd have that many. And we had highlighted 56 individuals that wanted to know more about owning property in super. So that simple database exercise that we ran for that mortgage broker added a whole lot of value to their business. That's exactly what we've done. We've added value to them, and we found the type of clients that suit our business.
So the key take-homes I'd like to emphasise to everyone right now is the concept of a focused target market, clearly identified niche portals, and then build a system that helps them and helps you. The system that we've built through Formstack, we built it once, and now it's essentially a save as, change the broker's name, and that just works over and over again. And that's just one of 2 ways at the moment, generically, that Otium's got a glut of inquiries, and that's translating into business for you. You called me, it was about 3 or 4 Fridays ago. I was walking down the street in Brisbane at the end of the day, and you called me to share in that 1 week you'd done how many super funds and the complete investment transactions in that 1 week? Yeah,
so knowing that what my target is, we really only have to see about 2 or complete about 2 to 3 clients a week to be very profitable, the way our model runs. That week I'd seen 13 new clients, all warm leads, all coming in wanting our service. Our job was to actually go through those, or I saw all 13 in 1 week. I was pretty knackered after that in various locations and in the office. My success rate, as you know, we talk each month, sits around 90%. So as of yesterday, I haven't signed up all those new clients, but we're pretty sure we will. We'll go through and sign up about 90% of those. So I completed a month's work in 1 week, basically, and we actually won't be doing that again for a while because it threw out the rest of our processes in the office. But that kind of focused approach helped us find that many clients, and yeah, it really is working well.
So I remember when we started working. Oh yes, Wayne.
One second, sorry. We're 10 minutes out, and I just want to reiterate a couple of people. The product that you're using as the extraction tool was Formstacker?
Just Formstack. I'll show everyone that now.
Thank you so much. And
it's a great tool that we help firms implement. Brilliant.
It's very visual. I'm a visual person, Wayne, as well, so it allows me to put spreadsheets into charts and talk in high-level meetings with pretty charts and graphs instead of trying to decipher and put up spreadsheets. It'll actually chart everything out. It's perfect.
And we use this ourselves at Paradox. If you've done the What's Your Profile quiz that you'll see on the side of any of our blog posts, or how do you rate as a rainmaker, we're using a Formstack survey there that integrates through to our CRM, our client relationship management system. So thanks for that question, Robert. Okay, so just moving along in terms of 10 minutes. So that was your first niche portal, is the mortgage brokers. And I remember when we sat down in November 2012, you said, look, at the moment I'm doing this many funds a week on average. If in 12 months' time we double that, I'll be a happy camper. And you said, how confident are you that you can achieve that in 12 months' time? And I said, very. And I think we achieved that was that in month 5, I believe.
Yeah, by month 5, we had the next problem of I needed to reevaluate our goals because we'd hit that double target and it didn't look like it was abating. So right now it's 2.5 times that, and I've had to really cap. We're at capacity, so I've had to cap the amount of leads coming in by not promoting my service anymore. So it clearly is working. So that's in that 12-month period we've gone from our revenue's gone to 2.5 times what I needed to make it worthwhile.
So if you wanted, this is one. Yes, Wayne?
Sorry. Another quick question from Maurice. Does Formstack integrate with social media? Facebook, LinkedIn?
Yes, it does. If you've ever seen any tweets out from Practice Paradox, if you're following us, it'll say such and such just completed our rainmaking quiz and scored, it just shows their first name, doesn't reveal their identity, and got 63 out of 100. That is Formstack publishing that to Twitter for us. So yes, it's pretty clever. You can integrate it with other apps. You can integrate it with MailChimp. You can integrate it with a whole range of other cloud-based apps. So thanks for that question. That was from Maurice, I see. Thanks, Wayne. Now, in the interest of time, moving on, I said that 2 niche portals. We won't delve into your second one, which is property investor clubs, other than to mention that you've done very well using the new media of blogging, educational focused marketing that we teach, that really has attracted opportunities for you to get in front of 70 and 80 investors at a time, who then all want to sit down in front of you and talk about how they can buy property through super. So what an awesome problem you've got at the moment, and you've just decided, in terms of a marketing machine, you're just dialing it down. That's one of the reasons we call it a marketing machine. Your lead gen, you can dial it up or dial it down once you've got the systems going. But with blogging, let's talk about blogging, because any progressive firm knows that they should be doing blogging, but depending where a firm's at, they might not know how to go about it. The biggest challenge a lot of people have is time. How do I write good content? Now, you're blogging weekly and have been doing that consistently, just for everyone's benefit. I'll just scroll down here on the article. So you got here, super right, not super cheap article there. Superannuation myths, some rules are meant to be broken. Bubble theory busted, 3 reasons property and superannuation, etc. So I'll just scroll down. You can see, and if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see where my scroll bar is. I'm halfway down the page. This is just prolific, and it's influential, and it's positioning Otium as really knowing their stuff. And the effect on your website traffic, we said at the outset, was it was over 2,200% last time.
I'll quantify those numbers. So my old website, I was flat out having 3 or 4 people a week come to it. I didn't understand. I thought, everyone thinks you have to have a website. I thought we did, and all the content was on there. Now we found a lot of our content's on video. With the blogging and use of social media, going to Twitter, going to LinkedIn, we're now up to 450 a month. So we've gone from 20 a month to now 450 a month, and that's steadily growing, about 50 a month. So it was 400 last month, 350 the month before that, and I don't see why or a reason why that radar won't keep growing, especially with the second site we're building you're going to show in a moment. So we're really happy with the level of, I would have thought 100 new individual site views a month would have been outstanding, but we're at 450. So another problem that we've got is a lot of people go to the site. How do we what do you call it? Turn them into business, basically.
Yeah, that's right. Which is where things like online quizzes and surveys and downloads and videos and that whole, we call that part of your marketing machine, for everyone's benefit, the conveyor belt. So a series of small steps people can take before they inquire, which is one of the reasons you can greatly compress the time it takes to bring someone on board from when they inquire to when they actually engage formally with you. Now, Drew, just share the story of how you used to get blog posts done a year ago and how you do now.
As you found, I've always been interested. I had a drive to get content marketing. I didn't know where to start. I created a new site and started doing it myself, writing the blogs. And at first, I thought I had to sell my service. I had to say, yeah, come to the Otium site and look at. And you coached me. It was, no, you're actually being the authority in this area, and my writing changed. At that time, then I was trying to do it myself. On a Friday night, I'd go home, write the article, publish it through the back end of WordPress, up myself, not think about the target market, not think about the title being attractive. I then go out and put it over LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook myself, It would take me 3 hours. I'd be drained. It was a Friday, and I just thought there has to be a better way to do it. You offered up that there's a virtual marketing service to do that. My process now is it takes me about 20 minutes to write the article. You can share what happens in the back end in a minute, but and then I commit every Friday to 10 minutes with my virtual marketing assistant to run through what she's done for the week, how the article was, when it's going up, anything else that I need to do. So you might sort of quantify what happens in the back end, but my spend now is from 3 hours and putting up a document I wasn't happy with no photos, etc., down to 30 minutes a week maximum, and the results are now I've got 450 individual users a month going to my site.
Now, just to recap the main points for everyone, it used to take Drew 3 hours of after-hours time to get a blog post done, and therefore it didn't happen very frequently, and it now takes 20 minutes to write it, maybe another 10 minutes to QA it. Here's the process that happens behind the scenes at Paradox to help Drew do that. You know, any business function, you need to make a decision, don't you, about buy or build, or, you know, do in-house or outsource or do a combo. Now, with marketing, it makes sense to outsource certain aspects of it. Not all of it, but certain aspects of it. So what happens is each Thursday, I believe, Drew, is that the day you have a deadline to get your draft of an article through to your assigned virtual marketing assistant with us?
Yep, have to have it done by Thursday, which gives it time to go and be QA'd and be populated.
Okay, so Isabel, who's based in the Philippines, she's actually working in the relief effort post-typhoon today. But Isabel's your assigned virtual marketing assistant, so she holds you accountable and makes it happen. Then what happens is that Word document goes from Isabel to our copywriter, Bill. So Bill polishes it up from an editorial and journalistic. He's actually a trained, qualified journalist, so he makes it really good to read. It's a well-written article. Not that your drafts are too shabby, but sometimes actually he pushes back to you, doesn't he? And he says, Drew, you got to give me something more to work with here. Give me a bit more meat.
If I've knocked it out on a Sunday and I really am just lazy and I've just got stuff down, I know it's not that good. They send it back to me and go, come on, bit more personality, bit more relevant detail in there, and I go back and I fix it up and I resend it on. So I've encouraged that because I don't want bad content going up, and it forces me to think about what content is interesting and what's relevant.
Absolutely. So the point there, though, is a well-written article doesn't sell anything to anyone. It's like a well-dressed advisor. You need to understand influence. So what happens after Bill, the copywriter, our copywriter is finished with it, it goes back to Isabel, who then sends it on to me as a marketing strategist. And I look at a number of things. I look at the headline. If people don't read the headline, they don't read your article. And by the way, these articles we also put into e-newsletters for Otium. So look at the headline, but also look at the headline from an SEO or search engine optimization perspective. In terms of, we have 5 phrases identified that we're helping Otium to dominate in their market. So we look at the headline, we look at the tone and the call to action. Your blog article should not sound like a brochure. It shouldn't be, you know, call now, anything like that. They've got to sound more like an authority and an opinion piece. So then once the strategic QA is finished with it, it goes back to Isabel, the virtual marketing assistant, and then she wades through, and such a time-consuming chore, to find images that support the story. And then once she's got the image, you'll approve the image, and then she puts it on your blog and into e-newsletter, and you can get on with your next task for the day. So that's how you can be efficient with your marketing. Now, I'm just going to ask everyone's permission. We've just gone to 12 p.m. We're going to go for 5 more minutes. Cool. We're still adjusting to this half-hour format of the Fast Facts Friday. You know, I could talk to you for 2 hours alone and drill deep into just the business model question around firms. So there's a lot of things that we can drill into. So that's on the blogging side of things, and on the social media side of things. What's happened there? How do we know what to tweet for you, for example? I
identify and always review about 10 websites that I've said to Isabel to go and get this style of story from. It took her about a month, not took her about a month, within a month she knew what she was looking for, and now she puts up 15 tweets, LinkedIn messages or Facebook posts, and they're all in my niche. They're all things that are interesting to that, so my followers are actually getting what they're following us for. They're not getting me a social media picture of me going to the bottle shop, picking up a bottle of wine or something like that. We've got our own personal pages for that. We keep it really business orientated and focused on property, what's happening with self-managed super funds. So once again, I don't have to, or people think I spend a lot of time with my social media. I don't do it at all. Isabel's doing it all for me 15 times a week.
So in terms of the social media promotion, thing for everyone to understand is when a tweet is put out into Twitter or an update to LinkedIn or a post on Facebook or post in Google+, that creates, that hyperlink that's in that update creates what's called a backlink. So it's a link back to your site, and in particular to the blog post, and that really helps your search engine optimization, or in other words, your Google rankings. So you need to look at marketing as a process, because just as doing compliance work is a process and it involves milestones and workflow, the same with marketing, which is why, you know, it really does make sense to outsource everything other than the IP creation. So the intellectual property, the ideas, you then want to just hand that off and have it published for you. So Drew, you know, Isabel, you're assigned virtual marketing assistant. She's not there to advise you. She's just basically workflow and cracking the whip on you and making it all happen.
Yeah, correct. I had to get used to having another staff member that was just not in the office and handing her work to do, and we're at a really good medium. We meet every Friday and I hand that work over and it gets done, which is more appropriate. It's not that I hand it over and I'm wondering what's going on. I can see what's going on from my couch because posts go up. I see my own LinkedIn because I manage that myself, engaging you. She doesn't engage new people for me. I still manage my LinkedIn. She's just posting the relevant content there for me, which is really important. You shouldn't, from a strategy point of view, I don't want 1,000 LinkedIn followers if they're not people that should know what I do. I still manage the actual strategy behind my social media.
Yeah, exactly. So you're steering the ship and we're paddling it for you. So just to wrap up, because we've only got another couple of minutes, and I'll just touch across this. So you've got your Otium brand for your business, and you're also launching a separate blog that's just in prototype at the moment, Otium Advice, where you're going to position the main advisors, yourself, David, and Adam, as authorities within their niches as well, which is a smart strategy, and that will help your traffic generation and therefore lead generation as well, which is
really important. I felt from our personal brands were being overshadowed by Otium itself, and Otium now is really just a product. So I needed a way to highlight that we're a service inside the product and what our specialties are, especially from the accounting side. With David being a chartered accountant and very good at what he does, I felt that the brand was overshadowing us as individuals. So you and I hatched a plan to have the second site, and it makes complete sense. So Otium is in its niche for what it does for property and brokers. Otium Advice is for the mums and dads inside that, and a way to give them information on a regular basis. So we'll be blogging on Otium and we'll be blogging at Otium Advice. Two different types of markets, lots of content going out.
And this really builds the effect of know, like, and trust. You know, David Maister popularised the phrase, the trusted advisor, that accountants very proudly cling to. But a trusted advisor doesn't necessarily sell anything to anyone. People buy from those they know, like, and trust. So they've got to feel like they know you and they've got to like you. And there's a psychology to liking, and one of which is familiarity. So this type of site really builds that familiarity and that liking effect, where when someone inquires with you, they'll feel like they know you before they've even actually spoken to you in real life. So that's a very effective strategy that you're developing there. Now,
and just a lot of video as well, MC. We're very big on video. There's a lot of new videos that go up there, and I want to go to sites and click on videos and see what drives people. And so that's what the new sites are. And the old site has a lot of video and the obviously the Did You Know cartoon as well, which is very popular. But we put a lot of effort into it. They're not just a quick video that we put up. They're actually very polished videos because we want to come across with a very polished site. That's what we've done so far, and you're always keeping me in check when I come up with an idea that's just a little bit off polish. You go, you know what, you've done all this great work till now, why ruin it with something that's of lesser quality? So we keep focusing on the quality content. This has been in prototype for 3 months now. It's not a quick, it'll probably get launched in about 4 weeks. It's taken me 4 months to actually get it right, get the feel right, get the content right. So it's not a quick thing that we do.
Now, Drew, just in closing, before we wrap up and let people know about next webinars, etc., Could you just comment on the value proposition? Before I talked about that question of doing things in-house versus outsourcing, you had the outsourcing sort of window of opportunity forced upon you because you had a fantastic team member who left to start a family. And you thought, okay, do I take a gamble, a bit of a punt, to hire another team member who, that level of team member in terms of per year, just roughly in terms of direct and indirect costs of employment, would be how much a year?
The wage of someone that would be doing that would be $60,000 a year that I was replacing. Yeah, she had office management to do, but I didn't trust that I could find someone locally on such a high wage to come in and replace that person. So I could justify a spend of even a quarter of that to get everything done. So this is where you and I started talking about the virtual services and where I landed my sectors, and that's what I'd encourage people to look at, is that what's your spend versus the outcome. And clearly for us, our spend versus the outcome is significantly on the positive side. And I didn't have to hire a new person, and that practice manager comes back next year. I haven't had the awkward part of hiring someone for just 1 year and then putting them to the side. So what it's actually also done, I know I'm going over on time, is though that person that's coming on, the practice manager coming back, she doesn't have to do any of this now. It's all actually in play. She takes a little bit of the effort off me, and her role is freed up to concentrate on running the business a lot more rather than doing the social media. She won't pick this up when she comes back. It's already working. She'll run the business more effectively. That's what we'll be doing.
And just a comment for anyone who currently is in a firm with marketing responsibilities, it's about doing, there's that real estate investment principle of highest and best use for a piece of land through, industrial, commercial, residential, etc. It's the same with your skill sets within your firm. You want your team members who are on the ground to be doing those activities that are the highest and best use of their skills. So this isn't about necessarily saying, okay, we don't need you because we're going to outsource marketing tasks. It's no, let's now get you focused on the client contact things and those very high value tasks that really can only be done by someone on the ground. Now, just in a next step for everyone, on Tuesday, we're going to run a webinar where we'll just basically explain the services that we provide in terms of the different options and the pricing. So keep an eye out for an email that will point you to this page. It'll be a 30-minute services briefing webinar where we'll run through an explanation of our done-for-you services. So over to you, Wayne, in a moment, and I'd like to thank you, Drew, for sharing with us today. I really appreciate it because, there were touches of intellectual property there that you did share, and if everyone looks at those principles and those take-homes, every single person, no matter what sort of advisory firm you're in terms of which flavour of firm, can apply them. So thanks so much for your time today and in the preparation.
No problem. Thanks a lot. I'll leave you guys to it.
Okay.
And I just want to thank everybody. And if MC, if you could do one thing for me, could you just quickly throw up our LinkedIn group, that little bit.ly that we've got?
Sure.
So one of the things is, please continue the discussion. We've got a private group that's only available to people like yourselves that attend these fortnightly webinars. So once again, the next one is going to be in 2 weeks' time. Then it's going to be a specific webinar on how to get to your zero gold state. And it's going to be MC and myself giving you a lot of insider tricks and a lot of insider information on how to get to gold. So it'll be a really good session. Again, 30 minutes. So make sure you're registered for that. We will be sending you invites on the landing page probably Monday on that one. But please continue the discussion if you just type in this into your Google, Internet Explorer, I should say, bit.ly, bit.ly/Paradox Live, and that'll get you to our private LinkedIn group where it's exclusive just for people that deal with MC Carter and myself, and we give you a lot of inside tips and videos and things like that as well. Again, I want to thank MC, I want to thank Drew, and thank you once again. See you out and about, and it's good night from me, and it's good night from...
I'm supposed to say him, am I?
Yes, I love it. It works every time, a treat. Once again, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.